Hello again, it's Rosehip+Rye. I'm Karina, and Katrina is just behind you, showing this wonderful little pot we're going to talk about. So, it's all about Easter. This time, hello.
Hello. I hope people can see me alright, actually. We obviously filming at the same time as making this.
So, this little beauty is going to be made today, and this little beauty is made by our lovely friends from Karaway Bakery.
That's right.
Okay, so Easter. What do we know about that? And what do we need to know about that?
So, two things, right? So in this country, in the UK, everybody knows chocolate eggs. That's what everybody eats. Do you know anything about chocolate eggs?
Chocolate eggs, and yeah, I know the egg hunt. With little baskets.
We're gonna get to eggs, but a little bit later.
We're gonna do the running around with the egg?
Sort of. Back at home, we didn't really have chocolate eggs, but what we always had was what's called Paskha, which is basically cheesecake. So Russians know that Paskha is incredibly delicious, really rich, because obviously Easter is when you start eating all the kind of rich egg, dairy products. But the version that we want to show you today is as delicious, probably more delicious, but it's much easier to make.
But there are two types. So obviously those days before, people actually really love to spend more time cooking and, you know, kind of putting a lot of labor-intensive processes in it. We're trying to simplify it.
Yes.
Okay, so the ingredients for this, you know, again, quite simple but delicious. So the first is the good quality tvorog. Tvorog, for those who don't know what it is, it's very smooth cottage cheese, curd rather. It's not exactly the same as British one. It's much more sort of, it's sour sweet.
Yeah.
It has this kind of fermented taste to it, which is absolutely delicious. So this one has been already sieved, because you need to have the smooth consistency of the actual tvorog, and already mixed with a bit of smoothie cheese.
Yes.
Smetana.
The tvorog is kind of a little bit like our ricotta, right?
Yes.
I actually think that ricotta is probably
Yeah.
closer in taste and texture to tvorog
Brother
than
or sister.
Exactly, it's Italian sibling. Italian sibling.
And what we're making today is not cooked pasta. Pasta. Yeah, we're talking about Italians, we switch to pasta. Pasta is not cooked, and that's why it doesn't have such a long shelf life, but that's why we're making it the smaller pots. And there is another version which is baked one, so that takes a little more time.
Just like with cheesecakes, in fact, right? You can have baked cheesecakes or... and do you know why there are two different types? Why there is a baked and unbaked?
I think it's just for the reason of keeping it for longer.
Yeah.
So, one egg yolk goes there.
Golden egg, because this pasta, they call it golden
it's
pasta.
all around sort of eggs and this kind of color, isn't it? The yellow color. So you mix it really well, and you know what we didn't bring, which we need to, if you could kindly bring, is the melted butter.
Oh yes.
Which is just cooling there in the fridge. So this wonderful golden mixture. Then again, melted butter. This is very important because it makes it really lovely and smooth.
And it's also another golden ingredient.
Golden ingredient. It's all about sun, isn't it? Sunshine.
But it is in fact about sun, because originally, of course, all of these celebrations were based on pagan celebrations. So this was, from what I understand, a kind of ritual of welcoming spring, change of seasons, and also kind of an honor, or like, what do you call it, like an offering, that's it. An offering to harvests to come. And I think I've read somewhere that basically in the olden days, people would have made round enriched breads, like actually Kulich, but obviously these days they have a different shapes, they're kind of long, elongated.
So, next thing, so that's lovely and smooth. Don't worry about sort of that it's a bit sort of soft, because it's going to go in the fridge and it needs to cool down because of the melted butter and everything, and it will become a nice sort of spread. So sugar, again, the amount of sugar depends on your taste. So that amount for this quantity is good for us. And for a little bit of flavor, it's just vanilla sugar. The most important thing next will be, when you mix it all up, other ingredients which you can add to this beautiful mixture. The ingredients can vary. We're using the ones which is again golden. We're going with a golden amber color scheme. This chopped apricots. You can make them a bit smaller if you want to, or not.
Whilst you're mixing, a question for both of us really, because lots of people are asking that. Why do we have different calendars? So obviously local Easter is on the 4th of April. I'm gonna talk to the camera.
Yes, you do.
Local Easter is on the 4th of April, and then Russian Orthodox Easter is a whole month later, which is great for us because we can celebrate both Easters. But why Easter? That we have two different celebrations. From what we understand is that there are two different calendars. Oh my god, this smells amazing.
I just want to kind of stop for a second. So I have actually two types of zest. The one yes, the one which is made just prior, a couple of days before, and it's slightly dry. So I think the intensity of the dried zest is much, stronger. So, but you can, mix and match, or if you don't have time to actually make the zest prior making pasta, so you can actually do this because this is just amazing smell. But the quality is slightly different. So it's all golden theme.
So golden sunshine and Easters. So basically, Russian Orthodox calendar is different from Catholic calendar, and I'm not an expert, but what I do know is that the change, I think, was introduced to the Catholic calendar at the beginning of the 20th century. I would love people to correct me if I'm wrong, but that change didn't happen with the Russian Orthodox calendar, and so we have our Christmas is in January, not in December. But also our Easter, because it's a movable feast, depending on the moon and everything. It often varies, although sometimes it is on the same Sunday. So here you go. For those of you who may be married to, or maybe in an Anglo-Russian family, which is actually Karina is, you might have quite an interesting dilemma of basically celebrating British Easter whilst you're not really supposed to be eating meat or dairy products.
A lot of very enriched food.
Whilst waiting for your own Easter. Anyway, whilst you're battling with that ethical and spiritual dilemma, Karina is showing us the build-up of the little Paskha.
Oh, isn't it gorgeous?
And it's the shape, right?
Yes, we'll come to that in a minute when I'm just going to scrape all this delicious.
Because the traditional Paskha, like a really traditional Paskha that you would see in shops actually everywhere in Russia, Ukraine, obviously it's normally much bigger. And it's made, this is the simplified version that we're making, is that we are not draining the cheese. Because when you've drained it, obviously it hardens and you're able to shape it much easier.
No, but again, this is very sort of modern version, and you can see that in this pot you actually see it better because it's been set and it's been chilled. But the thing is that you need to have a spatula, but make like borders, like angles.
Let me just make sure that people can see.
I'll do that. So originally they were putting it in a special mold. We don't have that mold, and the mold resembles, obviously it's a very religious connotation. They coffin of Jesus Christ, and it's more like a pyramid shape. So we were trying, actually I was trying to replicate that, so I was making these kind of edges, but you can do that or you're not. But in our presentation, which we're actually going to be selling in our shop together with this beautiful Kulich, it's going to look like this. And for decoration, we chose almond flakes, slightly roasted, some beautiful, you can see because I actually just slightly smeared it, beautiful edible flowers, dried flowers, and the most important thing, which Katja really, really likes,
Yes.
is
pollen.
Bee pollen.
Bee pollen, which is actually, I believe, again, I might be completely wrong, in Russian, is often called honey bread. Which is, I think, very symbolic actually, because we're talking about Easter, about breaking bread, about eating the body of Christ, and this is a honey bread.
But you know that actually I haven't tried it before, but when we tried it for our bread events, this is the first time we've tried it, and actually it has very interesting sort of like a citrusy
flavor.
It smells which gives obviously an extra layer of taste to this particular dish, because we have lemon zest inside, and then we have this crumbles over, and it looks really pretty, and it's actually very Moorish.
Shall we actually cut the kulich and show
we can
people
show
how to eat it?
Yeah.
Okay, whilst you finish it, I'm going to bring the knife.
So we have a little sort of set over here. So there is a, that's usually the set for the breakfast morning on Easter Day. When you have kulich, you have this colored eggs, which Katja colored with in natural colorings of
onion peels. This is how we always did it when I was growing up. Basically, a month before Easter, you start collecting onion peels. Like basically, anytime you cook with onion, you just collect onion peels in a little bag. I still remember. And it starts smelling a bit funky. Doesn't matter. And so obviously, a couple of days before Easter, you basically put the onion peel with water and you boil your eggs. So basically, you boil them for as long as you need to boil an egg. So about 10 minutes. Maybe you can leave it for a little bit longer for a more intense color. But this one's actually, because these eggs were very white when we got them. Because of course a lot of eggs in this country, they're kind of brownish, so they would have been darker. And you can see they have this really lovely kind of marbly texture color.
Okay.
Let me just make sure again people can see.
Can they? Good. So, depending on your appetite, you can have a small piece or a big piece of this, and then you just take the lashings off, and just it's very spreadable, and again the thickness of the spread could be decided by you. I quite like actually the big one.
Lashings is a very good word for it. Yes.
And look. Then you can eat it with a lovely cup of tea, might be Ivan tea as well.
Yes.
And then Katja will come back, and then we're going to do the
Battle of the Eggs.
Battle of the Eggs. Is this symbolic as well? Isn't it? Yeah. Or is that actually?
I don't know. I think maybe
Russian
it's like an
Orthodox?
equivalent of like chocolate eggs.
Okay. So one.
So this is what you do. You boil the eggs, and you have lots of eggs, and then you basically go around your family. And everybody, and basically whoever is left behind with the strong intact egg is the winner. I don't know, get an extra Paskha or something.
Okay, so are you ready?
Okay, one, I like to... Oh my god!
So who wins?
You win, obviously.
Okay. The friendship always wins. That's what we learned. Anyway, I think we've presented that. So the last thing which is left to say is that we are absolutely delighted to put this on our shop menu. So you can get this beautiful Paskha, chocolate tворожный spread, then kulich. Eggs will not come with this set.
You can do eggs.
But that's it. So we're waiting
Lovely Easter
for you. Looking forward to see you.